Welcome everybody to the first ever Toy Tuesday. This one's going to be a little different than the other Toy Tuesdays because this one we're going to do a little story time. I want to give you guys a little history about myself and how I started collecting. So let's go way back to the early 80s when I was just a very, very young kid. My parents got me traditional toys from the time, like Transformers, Voltron, He-Man. So from a very early age, I was playing with action figures. And as I got older, my tastes changed and I started collecting different things. By the time I was 7 or 8 years old, I think, I started getting into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles heavy. Every birthday party was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles themed. All my friends had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and we all bought each other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for our birthdays. Yeah, man, I loved those things for so long. And one day, a friend of mine showed me a Nightcrawler action figure. And it was the very first Nightcrawler action figure that Toy Biz had made. Man, I saw that thing and I was like, what is this thing? It was blowing my mind. I had never seen something like that, like a blue demon looking guy. And the way that they were articulated was very different from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which were very similar to He-Man. It was just a, like this, and the head would turn and the legs went up and down, but that was about it. The X-Men had elbow joints and knee joints. And with this Nightcrawler, it had a fully articulated, it was a bendy tail, like a bendy wire, and it was so cool. And he also had those little suction cups so he could like stick on glass or, smooth surfaces. But after I saw him, that same friend, his dad collected comics. So he showed me what it was, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And at the time, I was already reading Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics. So comics were nothing new to me. So I jumped in head first and started reading the comics, started collecting the action figures, and then X-Men the animated series. I think it had already started. And I got into that, and it was over. I became obsessed. I was everything X-Men. So started off with the Toy Biz. I collected everything I could get my hands on. I ended up selling all my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for like 50 bucks or something, which I'm kicking myself for now because as toy collectors, you don't have to collect a certain line to know when, certain things are worth a lot of money if they're old. After I started to get older, I still had my collection, but they weren't prominently displayed. And then they came out with Marvel, well, they weren't Marvel Legends at first. It was a line of like Spider-Man figures that were super articulated. And when I saw that, I was like, oh man, this is awesome. And I love Spider-Man too, so I ended up getting that. I actually collected the Toy Biz Spider-Man just so I could have my own crossovers when I was playing. Then they come out with the actual Marvel Legends after that little quick Spider-Man line. And in the first wave was Toad, and I had never had a Toad figure, and it looked really cool, but it was poorly articulated. And, I got it anyway. And then consecutively after that, they would release more and more X-Men in the lines. And they started doing this thing called Build-A-Figures, which is they'd give you a piece of a bigger figure that you could put together if you got the whole line. So I ended up getting, everything just to get the Build-A-Figures, or at least of the ones I wanted. So they had like Mojo, they had the Sentinel here, which was absolutely, when I saw the Sentinel, I was like, oh my God, this is like a dream come true. And at this point, I'm a grown-up. But, people shame me for collecting, but So after that Marvel Legends Toy Biz lines were coming out, I started an actual display. I had worked at a Toys R Us for many years, and when we started remodeling stores, there was an old Barbie display case they were going to throw away, so I'm like, oh, I'll take it. It was all my Toy Biz Marvel Legends, and then something happened. Toy Biz went out of business, and I was very disappointed because, they were just scratching the surface in my opinion, and I want to say the figures were getting better over time, but that wasn't always the case. Sometimes, they'd release this Kitty Pryde figure was garbage. Absolute garbage. And that was towards the later. And so after Toy Biz lost the license, some years had passed, I don't know how long it was, before they released new Marvel Legends through Hasbro. Now when they did that, at first I was excited because I'm like, oh yay, new Marvel Legends. Well, this is what they were releasing. This is hot garbage. And the only reason I have this is because I bought it to go, you know, this is gonna remind me of why I quit collecting. Because this thing is the goofiest, ugliest thing I've ever seen. I don't mind the packaging. The packaging is not bad at all. But going from that blister packaging that Toy Biz had, and then you had a comic book and a, you know, they'd throw like a stand in or whatever. This was weak. I couldn't do it. I'm like, I'm not spending money on that. And some time went by. Hasbro got better, but I wasn't aware of it. And me and my girlfriend were with some friends, and we went to Coliseum of Comics, which is a comic book shop near me. And we're walking around there, and there was this Kitty Pryde. And like I had just mentioned, I had a Kitty Pryde from the Toy Biz days, but it was horrible. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, this is the best Kitty Pryde I've seen. In fact, this is a really good action figure. And I also saw it had what looked like a Magneto head in it, and I'm like, well, it's blacked out. Kind of looks more like Onslaught. I was not aware of what was going on. I did see the Juggernaut bath arm, and I'm like, should I get back into collecting? Some time had passed. I don't remember whether it was for my birthday or Christmas, but my girlfriend had gone back and got that Kitty Pryde, and man, she opened a real can of worms. Because after that, this, and eventually I'll do a room tour and you guys can see, I have been collecting ever since. And it's my hope that Hasbro keeps going because they keep getting better and better and better. That's pretty much my story in a nutshell. Going from being a little kid to old ass man, still collecting, and I absolutely love the hobby. You know, I love everything about it too. It's not just getting the action figure and displaying it, which is a great part of it. But if you toy hunt, the hunt can be fun. It can be a lot of fun. It can also be a pain in the butt. And I got to the point where I don't like risking not getting an action figure. So I prefer to pre-order everything. Not all the time. Sometimes there's like figures I'm like, I could do without it. But you might end up regretting it. Because I'll tell you this, when that first X-Men 97 wave came out, I'm like, I don't need that Rogue, I don't need that Wolverine, I don't need that Gambit. I just didn't need them because I have so many Wolverines that, you know, I got a Tiger Stripe up here who does just fine. Yeah, it's not super accurate to the cartoon, but I'm not going for like just a cartoon. I'm going for like comics. I didn't need the Wolverine, Gambit, and Rogue, and I ended up regretting it because now I don't want them open. I just want them to hang on the wall because I'm one of these guys. I do one to rock, one to stock. The reason for that, I should say, is because, you know, I open one to display, and I also like looking at them in package on my wall, and I do plan on selling them one day. I've sold more than half of my Toy Biz that were still in package to further fund the collection. I'm still planning, you can't see them right now, but above me are the last of my Toy Biz Marvel Legends. I'm going to be keeping two. The chunky Apocalypse, like the original appearance Apocalypse, and Deadpool with dupe in it, because I might open it one day for dupe. I'm crossing my fingers that they will come out with a new dupe, so I don't have to open it. But I'm saving those for nostalgia reasons. Other than that, I'm selling all the rest, again, to further my collection. The thing about collecting is you run out of space. You start to get in the habit of knowing like when lines are going to come out, so you set aside money, and you know, if you want, do like me, sell some figures you don't need anymore. How many Wolverines do you really need? So it's like, you know, you're not going to get what you paid for it all the time. Sometimes you might get more. You never know. If you guys are curious, you can always go on actionfigure411.com and you can look up the price of pretty much any action figure, not just Marvel Legends. They'll tell you what it was when it came out, the MSRP, and then you can see what the high was, what the low price was, what the average was, and what it's going for right now. It's a great resource, and I think everyone should take advantage of it. In fact, we are using that as a resource for pricing when we're going to be doing action figure by action figure. collecting is awesome. Everything about it, buying, selling, trading. The hunt is fun, but again, I don't want to risk it. So my days of hunting are pretty much over. If I'm out at the store, then, you know, I'll pop in a toy line or toy aisle and check it out. When they were doing Walgreens exclusives, I had to go to Walgreens because I had to get, you know, Magic and Mystique. So yeah, I mean, if I absolutely have to, I will. But it was like, I don't know why they do that. It doesn't make sense to me because I'm not buying anything else when I'm at Walgreens. I'm like straight to the toy aisle, look, nothing, I'm out. Yeah, man, that pretty much covers it. We're gonna talk a lot more about, we'll have whole episodes dedicated to buying, selling, trading. I want to tell you guys about toy groups and one of my favorite toy groups, but we'll save that for another time. Next week, we are going to be doing, like I said, Kitty Pryde. And we're going to cover the Juggernaut Bathwave. And then we're going to jump ahead. Because I've been doing the X-Men 97 reactions, I want to do the X-Men 97, well, the 2 waves that are out. At least the ones I have. No Wolverine for Talent. All right, guys, so till next week, I'm Talent, the Eccentric Collector, and we'll see you next time.